So welcome to SISYA class, students. Can you hear me? Can write in chat. So welcome to SISYA class. Today we are going to study about exploring forces, that is in NCERT chapter 5. Okay, so are you ready, guys? Tell me in the chat. Yes. Are you guys ready? Okay. So before starting, let introduce myself. My name is Sudeep Pandey and I am from Lucknow. I have done my graduation in Lucknow University and after that I have pursued my post-graduation in MSc Physics from NIT Karnataka. I have total of 5 years of teaching experience. So yeah, that's all about me. So you have, like, if you want beta, you can download the SISYA class app, and in that class and that batch you can join different courses like booster course, there is one math champ course, there is one SISYA topper program. So what you have to do in that case, just go to the link that is sisyaclass.com/LTC. You have to opt for the grade, like let's suppose if you are in grade 6, just tap that thing, okay, and you have to put your mobile number and state, and then after that you can book your class, and after that our mentor will call you, okay, or else you can call the mentor directly also, okay. So here you can see there is one button for talk to counselor and you can talk to our counselor also, okay. So let's start our today's session. Today we are going to discuss about force, then after that we'll discuss about the unit of forces, what force can do to the objects, then what are the two main categories of forces, and what is balanced and unbalanced force, okay, and in last we'll discuss some questions also, okay. So are you ready, guys? Okay. So what is force? Do you know, guys? Do you know, students, what is force? Yes. What is force? Force is push or pull on any object. Push or pull on any object is called force, okay. So if you apply push or pull on any object in a particular direction, that is actually a force. So what is push actually? What is push? Push and pull we'll discuss one by one. What is pull? Pull is the force what you exert when you have to move something closer to you, right? So here you can see a person is playing the tug of war, right? So what you will do, you are pull, like you are exerting a force and you are keeping the things, like exerting the force, and you are making the things closer to you, right? Any doubt in this? Yes, any doubt? Any doubts, beta? Do you have any doubts? Okay, so this is pull, okay. If you want to move something closer to you, that is what we call as pull. This is clear, guys? Do you have any doubts? No doubts? Okay, fine. Moving on to the next point, that is forces have magnitude and direction, okay. So what does this mean? What does this mean? Like, what is magnitude and what is direction? Do you know what is magnitude and what is direction? Yes. I think you have learned this thing, that there are two types of quantity. One is scalar and one is vector. So what is the scalar quantities? The quantities which have magnitude and unit. We don't require in the direction to prove, like let's suppose if you are going to buy some mangoes, okay, if you want to buy some mangoes, so in that case you are going to ask that give me 5 kg of mangoes, right? You are not going to ask that give me 5 kg of mangoes in north. So for that, for mass, you don't require any direction. So those types of quantities are known as scalar quantities, right? Those types of quantities are known as scalar quantities, which have only magnitude and unit, right? This is clear? They have only magnitude and unit. Now, what about vector quantities? What about vector quantities? Now, if someone asks you, let's suppose you and your friend are exerting 5 Newton of force. I'm asking that, let's suppose you and your friend are exerting 5 Newton of force on a box, okay. Now if someone asks you, find the net force, so tell me what is the answer. Some of you for sure are going to tell this thing that the answer is 10 Newton, right? And some of you will give that answer is 0 Newton, because the question is incomplete, right? I haven't told you that in which direction I'm applying the force. So let's suppose in the worst scenario, I'm applying force like this, in this direction, okay, and in the, let's suppose my friend is exerting 5 Newton of force in the opposite direction. Now in this case, guys, tell me what is the net force? What is the net force? Tell me. Yes, so the net force is 5 minus 5, that is 0 Newton. Why I am putting minus 5? Because the direction is opposite, right? Direction is opposite. This, because of that, 5 minus 5 is 0 Newton. Net force on this box is 0 Newton. But let's suppose this is the first case. Okay, let's suppose in the second case, what happened? Let's suppose if I will exert the force in 5 Newton in this direction, okay, and my friend is also exerting 5 Newton of force in the same direction, what will happen? What will happen? Tell me. Net force will be 5 plus 5 this time, right? Net force will be 5 plus 5, that is 10 Newton. This is clear, guys? Tell me, any doubt? Do you have any doubt? So you can note this down that net force is, in this case, 5 plus 5, that is 10 Newton. You can note this down. Okay. So the net force is 10 Newton also, it can be 0 Newton also. It depends from where you are exerting the force, in which direction you are exerting the force. So because of that, remember this thing, to define a force, to describe a force, you need direction, okay? You need direction. So that's why we call force have magnitude and direction as well, and because of that, we'll say that force is a vector quantity. Force is a vector quantity. This is clear, my students? Tell me, any doubt in this? Do you have any doubts? समझ में आया कि नहीं आया? Tell me. Yes? Okay, okay. So this is the second point you have to remember. The third thing is, what are the units of forces? What is the SI unit of force? So as you know that we measure mass in kg. We measure mass in kg. And because of that, the SI unit of mass is what? Kg. Similar to that, how we are going to measure the force? I told you now, force is 5 Newton. So that Newton is the unit of force. The SI unit of force is what? Newton. Remember this thing, the SI unit, the system of units is known as, SI unit of force is known as Newton. This is clear, guys? Now, one more thing. The formula which we are going to use for the force is equal to mass into acceleration. The formula for force is what? Force is equal to mass into acceleration. Now if someone asks you that describe what is 1 Newton. So what is the formula? Like how you are going to define the 1 Newton? 1 Newton is nothing but 1 Newton, will see 1 Newton is equal to 1 kg into 1 meter per second square. So 1 Newton is what? 1 is the force required to accelerate a 1 kg mass by 1 meter per second square. So remember this thing that 1 Newton is what? 1 Newton is the force required to accelerate a 1 kg mass by 1 meter per second square. Okay, this is clear. Any doubt? Do you have any doubts, my students? Any doubts? Any doubts? No doubts? Okay, fine. So there are some more units. Okay, there are some more units. We are going to discuss about some more units. That is CGS unit. Just now we have discussed, this is what we called as MKS unit. This is what? This is MKS unit. The second is CGS. M stands for here. M stands for what? M stands for meter. M stands for meter. K stands for kg. While S stands for seconds. Okay, just remember this thing. The second unit, that is CGS unit. C stands for what? C stands for centimeter. G stands for grams. And S stands for seconds only. Okay. Now, what is CGS unit of force? Like many times you are going to see these types of question in Olympiads. Okay. अगर आप Olympiad के लिए जा रहे हैं, so for sure they are going to ask these types of question that what is CGS unit of force? For sure, I am damn sure about this thing that you know this thing that MKS unit is what? Newton. But what is CGS unit of force? The CGS unit of force is Dyne. Okay. The CGS unit of force is Dyne. Now we are going to convert MKS into CGS. Okay. So just focus what I am doing. So 1 kilogram meter per second square is equal to. Now what is 1 kg is equal to? Tell me. 1 kg is equal to how many grams? Yes. 1 kg is equal to how many grams? 1000 grams, right? 1 kg is equal to 1000 grams. Then 1 meter is equal to how many centimeter? Tell me, 1 meter is equal to how many centimeter? 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter, and seconds is same only, right? So if I'm going to multiply in this thing, that 1000 into 100 is what? 1 lakh, right? 1, or we can write as 10 to the power 5 gram centimeter per second square. So what we did, that 1 kg meter per second square is equal to 10 to the power 5 gram centimeter per second square. So this is what we called as dyne. This is what? Dyne. So 1 Newton is equal to 10 to the power 5 dyne. Okay, so this is our CGS unit of force. So remember this thing, that 1 Newton is equal to 10 to the power 5 dyne. So these types of questions for sure they can come in your exam. So remember this thing. Now, moving on to the next thing, that what force can do. What force can do. So force can change the state of motion of an object. It means what? What state of motion mean? First of all, you have to get to know that what state of motion means. Let's suppose if object is at rest. Object is at rest, and if you want to move that object, by applying force, what you can do? You can move that object. So a force can move the stationary object. Force can, by applying force can move a stationary object. This is clear, guys. Force can move a stationary object. This is clear. Any doubt? Any doubt in this? Any doubts? Any doubts? Do you have any doubts? Okay. So state of motion is what? Object is at rest, so it will remain at rest. Okay, until and unless you are applying any force. So if you will apply a force on a stationary object, you can move that object. Okay, in this picture you can see that a footballer is kicking a ball and he is moving that ball, right? Because stationary object, he can move the football also by applying force. Okay. Now, in the second case, if you want to stop a moving object, for sure, I know this thing that many of you are playing cricket, right? You love cricket. You want to play cricket every time, right? So, if you want to stop a ball, what you are doing? You are applying force, right? When you are catching, what you are doing? You are stopping the ball. Stopping the ball means by applying force, you can stop a moving object. And here also you can see that a footballer is stopping the ball, right? Is stopping the ball by applying force. So you can stop a moving object. You can stop a moving object. This is also very important, that by applying force you can stop a moving object. Okay, this is clear. Any doubts? Any doubts, students? Any doubts? Any doubts? No doubts? Okay. Now, what force can do? The third point, force can also change the direction also. Like when you have, like, I'm sure like some of you like Virat Kohli, right? Virat Kohli. You like Virat Kohli. You like, some of you are like, you like Rohit also, right? Rohit Sharma. So what they will do, like by applying force, like someone can change the direction also. Like you can play the straight drive, you can play the cover drive, right? You can pull the ball also, right? So what you are doing, you are changing the direction of the ball. You can also change the direction of the ball by applying the force. So this is very also important point, that force can change the direction of a moving object. You can also change the direction of a moving object. Okay, so this is clear, guys. This is the third point, that you can also change the direction of a moving object by applying force. This is clear. Any doubt in this? Okay, fine. Now, when you apply a large force, let's suppose you are going on a cycle, okay, and when you apply a large force on a pedal, let's suppose if you are applying a large force on the pedal, then in that case what will happen? Tell me what will happen. Tell me what will happen. Yes, the chats, you can tell me what is going to happen. Yes, tell me, guys, what is going to happen. Yes. So when you are going to apply a large force on pedal, the speed is going to increase, right? Speed is going to increase. But if you are going to apply a very small force on pedal, then the speed is going to decrease, speed of your bicycle is going to decrease, right? So by applying a force on any object, you can change the speed of a moving object, right? You can also change the speed of a moving object. So this is the fourth point, that by applying force, you can change the speed of a moving object. This is clear, guys? This is clear? Any doubt? Do you have any doubts? Okay, fine. Now, by applying force, you can also change the shape and size of an object. Let's see. Let's suppose if I will apply a force on this object on this balloon, I can change the shape and size, right? You can see I can clearly change the shape and size, right? So by applying force, you can change the shape and size of an object. Even in this picture also you can see, by applying force on a can, you can crush a can, right? You are changing the shape completely, right? You can change the shape and size of an object. So this is the fifth point, right? So what force can do? I told you 5 things. You can stop a moving object, you can move a stationary object, you can change the direction also, you can also change the speed of an object, and you can also change the shape and size. So 5 things you can do by applying force. This is clear? Any doubt? Any doubt, my students? Any doubts? Yes? No doubts? Okay. Now what force cannot do? Like force बहुत कुछ कर सकता है, force क्या नहीं कर सकता? Tell me, force क्या नहीं कर सकता? Tell me what force cannot do? Yes, force cannot change the mass, right? It cannot change the mass. What is mass? You know what is mass? We are going to learn this thing in this class only, okay? So mass is what? Amount of matter actually, okay? If not in this class, we are going to cover this in the next class. So what is mass? Amount of matter present in any object, okay? Amount of matter present in any object. Now let's suppose if you are applying a large force on me, my mass is going to change or not? Tell me. You can change my mass? You cannot change my mass, right? So you cannot change the mass of by applying force, for sure you cannot change the mass. But remember this thing, that in the higher classes you are going to learn that if you apply very large force, very large force, then yes, you can change the mass, but very negligible amount. By very negligible amount, you can change the mass, okay? By very negligible amount, you can change the mass. This is clear? But for now, just remember this thing, that you cannot change the mass by applying force, okay? These things you are going to learn in the higher classes, that by applying very large force, you can change the mass by very negligible amount. This is clear? This is clear, guys? Any doubt in this? Do you have any doubts? Any doubts? No doubts? Okay. Now there are 2 categories of forces. One is contact and second is non-contact, okay? So let's suppose if you want to exert a force, let's suppose if I want to push any object, okay? If I want to push this object, let's suppose if I want to push this object, I have to do a contact with this object, right? So physical touch is required. So let's suppose if you want to kick a ball also, so in that case you require a physical touch, right? Without physical touch you cannot move that ball. So those types of forces are known as contact force. So it is a force that requires physical interaction between 2 objects to occur. This is clear, guys? Any doubt? You need a physical touch, okay? Without physical touch, the contact force is not possible. This is clear? The physical touch is required. Yes, any doubt in this? Do you have any doubts? Yes, any students? If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, fine. Now, what are the types of contact force? Okay, so total types, if I will tell you, there are so many types. Like one is muscular force, one is tension force. That is not that tension, okay? जो टेंशन आप लोगों एग्जाम में होती है ना, वो वाली टेंशन नहीं है, okay? So this is a tension force. Then the normal force, then frictional force, okay? So these are the contact force, जिन्हें contact की जरूरत पड़ती है, okay? Means physical touch. These types of forces require physical touch, okay? So one by one we are going to discuss what is normal force, what is tension force, okay? So what is normal force? Normal force, let's suppose if you place a book on a table, Now the force which this table is going to exert on this book, the force which this table is going to exert on this book, that force is a normal force. Again I am repeating, let's suppose if you place a book on a table, okay, and the force which table exert on a book in a perpendicular direction, that is known as normal force. What is normal force? Normal force is the perpendicular contact force exerted by a surface on an object against it. Okay, this is clear. ये हवा में नहीं लग सकती. Okay, this is clear or not? You need a contact. Okay, this is clear. Let's suppose ये ऑब्जेक्ट है, इसके ऊपर मैं अगर ये रखता हूं, ठीक है, तभी ये कॉन्टैक्ट फोर्स लग सकता है, इस पे नॉर्मल फोर्स लग सकता है, ये ऐसे हवा में नहीं लगेगा. दिस इज क्लियर. दिस इज क्लियर गाइस. Any doubt in this? So this force need contact. Normal force is a contact force. This is clear. Any doubt? Okay. Second is what? Muscular force. Muscular force के बारे में बात करते हैं. What is muscular force? Now again here also you can see that a person is playing football. Again he requires like if he is not touching the ball, in that case he cannot move that ball, right? So the force resulting due to action of muscles is known as muscular force. In that also you need contact. This is clear guys. Any doubt in this? Muscular force. Okay, so examples, there are various examples like pushing a box, pulling a rope. तो ये सारे किसके एग्जाम्पल होते हैं आपके? Tell me. These all are examples of contact forces and these are all examples of muscular force. This is clear. This is clear. Tell me. अब बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक हम पढ़ने जा रहे हैं, दैट इज फ्रिक्शनल फोर्स. व्हाट इज फ्रिक्शनल फोर्स? क्या होता है फ्रिक्शनल फोर्स? आई एम डैम श्योर दैट यू हैव लर्न दिस थिंग, राइट? आपने सुना तो जरूर होगा. क्या होता है फ्रिक्शन? लेट्स सपोज if you have taken a ball, okay, and you thrown a ball onto a ground, okay, so it will move. After some time, for sure this ball is going to stop. So is there any magic on the ball, that why is this ball is stopping? Tell me. I have thrown a ball and why, like, you cannot see anyone who is stopping the ball, right? I am exerting the force so that the ball is rolling down, but after some times the ball is going to stop, right? तो कौन रोक रहा है वो बॉल को? Is there any magic in that ball? कोई मैजिक, कोई कुछ तो है. Tell me. That is friction. That is what? Friction. So friction is the force that opposes the relative motion between two objects. What is friction? Friction is the force that opposes the relative motion. Okay, remember this thing, that it opposes the relative motion between two objects. It opposes the relative motion between two objects. या तो वो slide कर रहे होंगे, they are rolling, or they are rubbing against each other. This is clear or not? Tell me. So what is frictional force? Frictional force is the force that opposes the relative motion between two objects. This is clear. Tell me this is clear. Any doubts? कोई doubt? Okay. Now there are two types of frictional force. Okay, हम दो टाइप के बारे में बात करेंगे. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, ये फ्रिक्शन होता क्यों है? क्या रीजन है इसके पीछे? मतलब क्यों ऐसा रुक रहा है? क्यों? Why this is so? Why like the surface is stopping that object? Okay, so the main reason behind this is irregularities between two surfaces. Okay, the irregularities. So for sure you have seen, let's suppose there is a surface. Let's suppose this is a surface. Okay, this is a surface, and let's suppose this is very smooth surface. Okay, this surface is very smooth. And still when you will throw a ball, it is going to stop, right? So in that case, why there is no irregularities, right? But if you will zoom on this surface, for sure you are going to see the irregularities. Like this, you can see there are some irregularities. Okay, there are some irregularities. And if you will see in the second object, here you can see this is a ball. The irregularities of ball is going to fit in the irregularities of the surface, and because of which it is going to stop that ball. Okay, वो resist करेगा, उसको जाने में resist करेगा. This is clear. So what is friction? Friction will cause, friction कहाँ से occur कर रहा है? Because of irregularities between the surface. ये जो irregularities है आपकी surface में, on the ground and the irregularities on the ball, they are going to fit. Okay, ये fit हो जाएंगे. आप देख सकते हैं यहाँ पे that they are going to fit at one point, and because of that it is going to resist the motion of the ball. This is clear. Tell me, and because of which friction occur, इसी वजह से friction होता है आपका. This is clear. Now there are two types of friction. I told you there are two types of friction. We are going to discuss one by one. Okay, just give me a minute. So can you guys tell me what are the two types of friction? Yes, tell me. So this is not in a syllabus, the two types, but I am going to tell you in very short. I will going to tell you. Okay, so one is static, and second is kinetic. One is static and second is kinetic. What is static friction? When object is at rest. When object is at rest, at that point of time the friction which occurs on the object is known as static friction. ठीक है, जब object rest पे होता है तो in that case जब जो उस point पे the friction which acts on that object is known as static friction. And when object is in motion, the friction which is going to act on the object is known as kinetic friction. This is clear? Tell me this is clear. When object is at rest, at that point of time the friction which occurs on an object is known as static friction. और जब object motion में होता है, at that point of time the friction which occurs on an object is known as kinetic friction. Okay, this is clear? Okay. Now in most of the books you are going to study this thing, that static friction is always greater than kinetic friction. Static friction is always greater than kinetic friction. ये चीजें आप पढ़ने वाले हैं बुक्स में, that static friction is always greater than kinetic friction. क्या ये हमेशा सही होगा? Is this is always true? Tell me. क्या ये चीज हमेशा से सही हो सकती है? I am going to tell you this is not always true. Okay, static friction is sometimes greater than that of kinetic friction. Okay, let's suppose एक आपको एग्जांपल से समझाता हूं मैं. Okay, just give me a minute. Let's suppose there is a box. Okay, and there is a box, and if you want to push that box, let's suppose this is a box, and if you want to push that box, and if you want to move that box, let's suppose you require a 5 Newton of force to push this box. Only then, or more than 5 Newton of force, let's suppose more than 5 Newton of force is required to push this box. Okay, then only is going to move, then only this object is going to move. In that case 5 से ज़्यादा force लगाओगे आप, then only this object is going to move. So in that case, let's suppose if you are going to apply 1 Newton of force, this object is not going to move, right? This object is not going to move. At that point of time, who is stopping this box? That is friction, and friction is exerting on this box, that is only 1 Newton. This is clear? This is clear. Why? Because you are exerting only 1 Newton of force, and only 1 Newton of force is required to stop this box, right? So only 1 Newton of friction is going to apply, and that friction is static friction only. Now you have increased the force by 1 to 2 Newton. At this point static friction will be 2 Newton. Then again let's suppose 3, then again 3, 4, 5. Now let's suppose you have applied a 5 Newton of force. Now at that point of time the static friction will be 5 Newton, right? And after that if you apply 5.001, in that case object is going to move, and at that point of time the friction will be less than 5. Okay, that time of time the friction will be less than 5. This is clear, guys? This is clear, and this less than 5 friction is what we called as kinetic friction. Now my dear students, listen to this thing. Here if you will observe this thing, that sometimes the friction will be 1, it can be 2 also, it can be 3 also, it can be 4 also. Okay, so static friction is changing constantly, right? It's not like it is fixed. It is not like 5 Newton will be fixed, right? So that's why we called static friction as the static friction is self-adjustable. It is self-adjustable. Okay, we call static friction as self-adjustable. This is clear? It is going to change. It's not like it is fixed. And the maximum value of static friction is what we called as limiting friction. Okay, limiting friction. This is clear? The maximum value of static friction is what we called as limiting friction. This is limiting friction. This is clear. This is clear. This is the maximum value of friction. So always remember this thing, that it's not always the case that static friction is greater than that of kinetic friction. Okay, it's not always the case. So remember this thing. Okay, so these are the two types of friction, and in the detail you are going to learn this thing in the higher classes. Okay, any doubts? If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Yes, my students, any doubts? Do you have any doubts? No doubts? Okay. Now, we have learned about the contact forces. Now, what are the non-contact forces? I told you, if there is a physical touch is required to move an object, in that case, we call those types of forces are contact forces. Now, let's suppose the force which doesn't require any physical touch, okay? They will happen in between the distance also. Let's suppose there is two objects. Let's suppose this is first object and this is second object. There are two types of objects. Let's suppose there are two objects, okay? Now, if I will tell you that between any two objects in the universe, there is a force of attraction. With let's suppose if I will tell you the force of attraction between me and you, the force of attraction between me and this card, the force of attraction between me and this phone. There is force of attraction between any two objects in the universe. That force of attraction is known as gravitational force. This is clear? This is clear, my guys? This is clear, my students? Tell me. So, in the gravitational force, there is no physical touch required. This is clear? This is clear? अगर बहुत दूर भी है ना objects, in that case also there will be a gravitational force. This is clear? So those types of forces are known as non-contact force. This is clear, that the force that acts even the object are separated by distance with no need for direct physical touch. So those types of forces are known as non-contact force. This is clear. So it can be attractive also and it can be repulsive also. This is clear? Tell me. Yes, so in this picture here you can see this is what we called as gravitational force. So one by one we are going to discuss what is gravitational force. What is gravitational force? Yes, the force of attraction. We are going to discuss in detail about gravitation in the next class. Okay. So what is gravitational force? What is gravitational force? Tell me. The force of attraction between any two objects in the universe is what we call as a gravitational force. This is clear? Yes. So the attractive force that exerts between any two objects with a mass is known as gravitational force. It is known as gravitational force. Yes, this is clear. So let's suppose if I will fall, let's suppose if I will drop this pen, what will happen? It's not going above now, it is going to downwards. Why? Because of gravity. Because of gravity. This is clear. The gravitation is known as what? The force of attraction which Earth exert. The force of attraction which Earth exert on any object towards the center is known as gravitation. This is clear. So we are going to discuss about the gravity, what affects gravity, on what factors gravity depends, okay, what is the difference between weight and mass in the next class, okay. So we are not going in detail in this class. So what is gravitational force? Again I am telling you, the attractive force that exists between the any two masses, that is known as gravitational force, and this force does not require any kind of contact, okay. It doesn't require, that's why we call this force as non-contact force. This is clear, guys? Any doubt? Do you have any doubts? Okay, no doubts? Okay, fine. Now moving on to the next thing, that is magnetic force. Okay, so for sure you have played with the, like in the childhood days, on now also you play with the magnets, right? So the force exerted by magnets on another magnet or between the magnetic material like iron, cobalt, nickel, so those forces are known as magnetic force. The force exerted by magnet on a magnetic material like iron or between any two magnets is known as magnetic force. This is clear? Yes, this is clear, guys. Always remember this thing better, that gravitational force is always attractive in nature. It's always attractive in nature. But if you talk about the magnetic force, right, so it can be attractive also and it can be repulsive also. Why I'm telling you this thing? Let's suppose there are two types of magnets. As you know, there are two poles, right? One is north and one is south. If I will place the magnet like this, first magnet like this, and if I will place the second magnet like this, can you guys tell me what is going to happen? Tell me. Yes, they are going to attract, right? Why? Because the south pole and north pole will attract like poles. So again, this is not like, this is unlike, right? So unlike poles will attract, unlike pole will attract. But let's suppose if I will place the magnet like this is north south, and this, let's suppose this is south north. So in that case they are going to repel. So like poles will repel. This is clear, guys. Any doubt? Do you have any doubts? If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Yes? No doubts? No doubts? So like poles will repel while unlike poles will attract. So this is clear. So it can be attractive also and it can be repulsive also. Okay? Now moving on to the next thing, that is electrostatic force. So for sure you have performed this experiment, right? What you have to do, let's suppose if I'm going to rub this balloon on my head. So in that case, because of friction, like this, let's suppose if I'm doing like this, and because of friction, the charges is going to accumulate on this balloon. Okay, and if I will place the balloon on a pieces of paper like this, you can see in this picture, if I will place the balloon, it's not like you have to make a contact with the piece of paper. By a distance also, the pieces of paper is going to attract, right? So this is magic. Tell me, is this magic or not? Is this some magic? क्या ये magic है? क्या ये magic है? Tell me. This is not magic. This is physics, and the reason behind this is what we call as electrostatic force. Electrostatic force. This is clear that the force that exerted between the electrical charge object and another charge or uncharged object is known as electrostatic force. तो यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? The force is responsible for this is known as electrostatic force. The force that exerts between the charges. This is clear? ये magic नहीं है, ये physics है. This is clear? This is not magic. This is physics. This is clear, guys. ये चीज समझ में आई आप लोग को? Tell me. Yes, this is clear. Now in this also, this can be attractive also and this can be repulsive also. Why? Let's suppose if I'll take two like charges. Like charges means plus plus or minus minus. So they are going to repel. They are going to repel. So again, here also the like charges, same like that of magnetic force, the like poles will repel. Here also the like charges is going to repel, while the unlike charges like positive and negative is going to attract. This is clear? This is clear? Yes. तो इसीलिए बोलते हैं unlike charges क्या होते हैं? हमेशा attract होते हैं. This is clear, guys? Any doubt in this? Do you have any doubts? Okay. So what we have studied about contact and non-contact force. This is clear? Any doubt? Do you have any doubts? Okay. Now, what is balance force? What is balance force? Now let's suppose if I will exert 5 Newton of force on this balloon from this side, and from this side also I will exert a 5 Newton of force. So what is going to happen? This object is going to move or not? Tell me. क्या ये balloon move करेगा? Tell me. It's not going to move, right? It's not going to move because the net force on this object is 0. But क्या इसका कोई use है? Tell me, is there any use of balance force? If you will observe clearly, it's not moving, but the force what I'm applying, it is changing its shape and size. So by applying a balance force, you cannot move an object, you cannot change the direction, but yes, you can change the shape and size of an object. This is clear? This is clear, guys? So by applying force on an object, by applying a balance force on an object, you can change the shape, and size of an object. आप shape and size change कर सकते हैं. This is clear? So when the net force acting on an object is equal to 0, this types of forces are known as contact force. जैसे आप देख सकते हैं यहाँ पे, let's suppose if this is object और इधर से 5 Newton आपने लगाया और इधर से भी 5 Newton लगाया. So in that case, what is the net force in that case? Tell me. The net force is 0. Net force is 0. So by applying balance force, remember this thing, you cannot change the direction, you cannot change the state of motion, you cannot change the speed of an object, but you can change the shape and size of an object. You can change the shape and size of an object. This is clear? Yes? Any doubts? Okay. Next is what? Next is unbalanced force. Next is what? Unbalanced force. So let's suppose there are two teams, okay? One team, they are playing the tug of war game. In one team there are two persons. In the second team there are one person only, okay? So for sure this team is going to win. Why? Tell me. Let's suppose if 5 Newton of force is exerted by this person and the 5 Newton of force is exerted by this person, and this person is this person is too much strong, and but again he can exert only 9 Newton of force. In that case also this team is going to win, right? This second team. Why? Because the net force exerted from this side is 10 Newton, but in this case the exerted force is 9 Newton. So if you will see, the exerted force from this side is more than that of this side, right? So because of which the net force, if you'll see in this figure, is known as net force is 10 minus 9, that is 1 Newton, and this team is going to win. This is clear? This is clear, guys? So in that case, what is unbalanced force? If the net force exerted by the system is not equal to 0 Newton, those types of forces are known as unbalanced force. So अब unbalanced force क्या कर सकते हैं? Tell me. Here only you can see that it can change the state of motion of an object. It can change the state of motion of an object, right? It can change the state of motion of an object. It can also change the direction. Even it can also change the speed. Okay? So apart from everything, now I told you the same cannot change the shape and size, right? But here unbalanced force, balanced force क्या कर सकता था? वो shape and size change कर सकता था, right? It can change the shape and size for balanced force, but for unbalanced force, it can change the state of motion of an object. It can change the speed also, and it can change the direction also. Remember this thing. This is clear? Any doubt? Hello Krishna. Yes, good evening. Yes, I am doing well. What about you? Okay, so any doubt in this? Any doubt? Okay. So this is what we called as unbalanced force. Any doubt in this? No doubts? Okay. So time for questions. Now what we have learned today, we have learned about force. हमने force के बारे में देखा. Then SI unit of force. Then CGS unit of force हमने देखा. What is CGS unit? Then we have learned about the contact force. हमने non-contact देखा. What is non-contact force? Types, हमने सारे types देखे इसके, ठीक है? Then after that we have learned about what? Balance and unbalanced force, right? If you have any doubt in these topics, you can ask me. Yes, any doubts? Yes, any doubts? Do you have any doubts in balanced force, unbalanced force, contact, non-contact, force, SI unit, CGS unit, and what force can do? What force can do? Any doubt in these topics? Yes. Do you have any doubts? No doubts? Okay. Now we'll solve some questions, right? So time for the questions. The first question is, why is it easier to slip on a wet surface? Can you guys tell me? Yes, you have learned this thing now. It's easier to walk on a rough surface. Why? Because the friction is more. But let's suppose if I will spill water on a surface, let's suppose there is a rough surface like this, and if I will spill water on this, what will happen? Tell me. It is going to fill the irregularities of the surface, right? It is going to fill the irregularities of surface. In that case, friction is going to reduce. Right? And if friction is going to reduce. In that case what will happen, it's not easier for you to walk on that surface, and that's why it's easier to slip on a wet surface. This is clear. So it is easier to slip on a wet surface because water reduces the friction between our feet and the ground, and with the less friction there is a less grip, making it easier to lose balance and slip. This is clear. Any doubt in this question? It's very easy question. Okay, next is it essential for an object applying a force on another object to always be in contact with it? Just now we have studied that it's not always necessary, right? Because we have studied about the non-contact forces also. So in non-contact forces there is no physical touch is required. So it's not essential to be for an object to apply a force on another object to always be in contact with it. Why? Because we have studied about the gravitational force, we have studied about the electrostatic, we have studied about the magnetic force also. So those types of forces are non-contact in nature. This is clear. This is clear, guys. Any doubt? Okay. Now the third question, explain how friction is both necessity and a problem. I told you it's necessary. Why? Because of friction only you can walk, right? You can write. If there is no friction, you cannot walk also, you cannot also write. You are going to slip for sure, you are not going to walk. So in that case it is necessary for friction is why necessary, because it helps us in walking, even in writing also. But why it's creating problem? Because it causes wear and tear. Okay, it causes wear and tear. So the necessity thing is what? It helps us to perform daily tasks, like it helps us to perform walking. We can walk because of friction only. But it is problem because it causes wear and tear of machine parts, because of which friction is a problem. This is clear, guys. Any doubt in this? Also is because of friction it wastes the energy as heat also. Because of friction only you can see your shoes are going to wear and tear. This is clear. Yes, even the parts of the machine also is going to damage because of friction. This is clear. Yes. Any doubt? Yes. Any doubt? Okay. So remember this thing, that it is a problem because it causes energy loss and damages to the surface. Okay, this is very important. This is very important question for your exam point of view, that they can ask why friction, they can ask like this also, that why friction is a friend and why it is a foe. Okay, so remember this thing. It's very important question for your exam point of view. Okay, moving on to the fourth question, that if someone asks you what are the differences between the electrostatic force, magnetic force and gravitational force. So first of all you have to tell me the definition of the electrostatic force. What is the definition? That it is the force between the two electrical charges. Magnetic force, it is the force between the two magnetic moving charges or magnets. And what is gravitational force? It is the force between the objects which is having some masses. Any two masses you will take, the attraction between the two objects is known as gravitational force. Now what is the main difference? That electrostatic force can be attractive and repulsive both, while magnetic force can be attractive and repulsive both. But if you will talk about gravitational force, it is always attractive in nature. This is very important point. You have to remember this thing, that electrostatic force is always, it can be attractive and repulsive. Magnetic force also can be attractive and repulsive, but gravitational force is always attractive in nature. This is very important. Okay, now the third point, remember this thing, that gravitational force is the weakest of these three forces. It is the weakest force in the nature. Talking about the magnetic force, it acts only magnetic material or moving charges, while electrostatic force is stronger than that of gravitational force. Remember this thing. This is clear, guys. Any doubt? And the fourth point, we can write the examples. As I told you, a rubbed balloon attracts a small piece of paper, while magnetic force, magnet attracts the iron nail. And in third, you can write gravitational force, an apple falls because of gravity only, because of earth gravity. So you can write the differences like this. And this is very important. Okay, this question is also very important. Now the last question, it's not that much easy. So is any force being applied to an object in a non-uniform motion? Tell me. is any force being applied to an object in a non-uniform motion? So for that you need to know about what is non-uniform motion. Uniform motion is that motion in which object cover equal distance in equal interval of time. What is uniform motion? What is uniform motion? Tell me. Object cover equal distance in equal interval of time, and in that case acceleration on that object is zero. Acceleration is zero. But in non-uniform object cover unequal distance in equal interval of time. Okay, let's suppose a car जा रही है. Okay, for 1 second is covering 1 meter. In the next second it is covering 1 meter. Again in the next second it is covering 1 meter. So that is a uniform motion. But वही कार अगर let's suppose in the first second is going 2 meter, in the second is going 4 meter, it's another first second it's going 1 meter only. So that is non-uniform. कि equal distance नहीं cover कर रही equal interval of time. That is non-uniform motion. So in uniform motion, remember this thing, acceleration zero होता है. But in non-uniform, acceleration is not equal to zero. This is clear. Now I told you that one formula is there for force, that force is equal to mass into acceleration. If acceleration is zero, in that case it will imply that force is also equal to zero, right? But here if you see F is equal to ma, this implies that if acceleration is not equal to zero means force is not equal to zero. इससे क्या समझ में आया बताइए? Is any force applied to an object in a non-uniform motion? Tell me. The answer is yes. Why? Because as I told you, force is not equal to zero in non-uniform motion. So in that case, if there is a non-uniform motion, in that case you need to apply some force. This is clear. So a net external force is required to move an object in a non-uniform motion. Remember this thing. अगर यही क्वेश्चन ऐसे पूछता, is any force applied to an object in uniform motion? In a uniform motion, उस केस में क्या बोलते हैं आप? The answer is no. Why? Because just now I told you that in that case force is zero. तो ये क्वेश्चन बदल जाएगा. बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन है. Okay. So remember this thing, that to move an object in a non-uniform motion, you need to apply some force. This is clear, guys. This is clear. Yes. So this thing you are going to learn, that what is Newton's second law of motion, जो मैंने आपको बताया just now, that force is equal to mass into acceleration. This is actually Newton's second law. Okay, so these things you are going to learn in class 9. Okay, so don't worry about this. So if you have any doubt till now, you can ask me. Yes, any doubts? Any doubt in this lecture? Any doubt? Any doubts? Tell me any doubts. कुछ भी कोई भी डाउट हो तो पूछिए जल्दी से. Yes. So हमने क्या क्या पढ़ा आज, फिर से मैं आप रिपीट कर देते हैं. We have studied about force, फिर हमने unit of force देखी, right? So after that what we have studied about what force can do. We have studied that what force cannot do. Then we have studied that forces कैसे कितने टाइप्स के होते हैं, contact force, non contact force. Then हमने देखा unbalanced, balanced force, right? So ये सारी चीजें हमने देखी. Then we have solved some questions also. अगर कोई भी डाउट है तो पूछिए आप. Yes, do you have any doubts? Yes, any doubts, my dear students, any doubts? कोई भी डाउट है तो पूछिए. Yes. Yes, no doubts? Okay, fine. So again, in the starting only I told you you can go to the SISYA class. Okay, हम SISYA class app पे जा सकते हैं. You can enroll in any of the batches. Like there is one booster course, there is one math champ course, then there is one LTC course. Okay, long term course. Okay, so you can just go and you can enroll to that program, and even in there is one SISYA topper program, so you can enroll in that program also. And how to enroll? Again, you can go and you can go to that link sisyaclass.com/LTC. फिर इसमें आप कोई भी बैच अपना चूज कर सकते हैं. लेट्स सपोज इफ यू आर इन क्लास 7th, जस्ट क्लिक करिए उस पर. आफ्टर दैट व्हाट यू हैव टू डू, उसके बाद आप क्या करेंगे, आपको अपना नंबर डालना है, मोबाइल नंबर डालेंगे आप, फिर स्टेट डाल सकते हैं अपना. ठीक है. सो इन दैट केस आपको डेमो के लिए कॉल हो जाएगा. आप डेमो अटेंड कर सकते हैं. एंड इवन यू कैन टॉक डायरेक्टली टू द काउंसलर. ठीक है, आप यहाँ देख सकते हैं देयर इज वन बटन, टॉक टू अ काउंसलर. आप अपने काउंसलर को भी फोन कर सकते हैं. दिस इज क्लियर. यस, तो ऐसे आप इनरोल कर सकते हैं. अपने हम ऐप को भी विजिट कर सकते हैं. एंड अगर आपको सेशन पसंद आया तो लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब जरूर करिएगा. बेल आइकन को हिट करिएगा फॉर द लेटेस्ट नोटिफिकेशन. ओके, तो ये सारी चीज़ें ज़रूर करें, इसको फॉरवर्ड करिएगा अगर आपको पसंद आया लेक्चर, ठीक है। ऐसे ही अगर आपको क्लासेस चाहिए मैं आप सारी चीज़ें आपकी क्लास 8 की मैं कवर करूँगा, आपके NCERT का जितना सिलेबस है वो कवर हो गए यहाँ पे। एंड डोंट फॉरगेट टू लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब, एंड थैंक यू फ्रॉम माई साइड, दैट्स ऑल फ्रॉम माई साइड। अगर कोई भी डाउट हो तो पूछ सकते हैं अभी आप हमसे। यस, कोई भी डाउट है तो डोंट फॉरगेट टू लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब, ये करना मत भूलिएगा, ठीक है। लाइक शेयर जरूर करिएगा। ओके, सो दैट्स ऑल फ्रॉम माई साइड। अगर कोई भी डाउट है तो पूछ सकते हैं आप, किसी भी तरीके का कोई डाउट है तो। यस, नो डाउट्स, कोई डाउट बच्चों, कोई डाउट? ठीक है, तो क्लास हम यही एंड करते हैं, ठीक है। दैट्स ऑल फ्रॉम माई साइड एंड विल मीट इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास। बाय बाय, टेक केयर।